Come along. Come along. We need to discuss doing something about our stock price.
What do you mean, do something about our stock price?
I mean, we need to boost it up somehow. It's too low.
But sir, the investors of the stock market determine what our stock price is.
I know that, and the price they're willing to pay depends entirely on what they think is going to happen to the stock after they buy it. They hope a bigger fool comes along and is willing to pay more for it than what they did. It has practically nothing to do with how healthy a company is. It all depends on their perception of a company's growth.
Yes, and most investors have that perception shaped by security analysts and hotshot brokers who are still wet behind the ears. Why, most have never seen a real downturn in the stock market.
Exactly. And what we need to do is to change that perception by boosting up the price of our stock. Since 9/11/2001, investors have become very nervous. And as you all know, the price of our stock has been sliding down that slippery slope.
Yes, but the only way we can directly raise the price of our stock is to have the company buy back a big chunk of it so there are less shares out there. But we don't have the cash to do that. Or, a longer range method would be to shut down the least profitable of our operations and lay people off.
Yes, those are the traditional ways. But at a recent meeting of other chief executive officers of American companies, I learned that there are some creative ways we can use to make our company look profitable, even if it's not.
Creative ways? Such as?
Well, one way is to take some of our maintenance costs and operating expenses and shift them over to the capital expenditures column of our balance sheet. That'll make our expenses look lower and our profits higher.
But sir, you can't do that. The auditors would catch that. Haven't you heard what has happened to those companies and their executives who have cooked their books by hiding their true economic health? Does the name Enron ring a bell with you? Do you remember what happened to their executives?
Yes, I remember, but trust me, it's still being done. I bet you we can sneak it by the auditors, especially if they receive a little bit of enlightenment. And if the IRS catches on, we'll just claim it was a judgment call.
But sir, we could really get nailed for that. After everything that's happened recently, I don't think the auditors are going to be that eager to cooperate.
Trust me, it's still being done, Parker, and I want you to find a way to get this done.
But...
I don't want to hear your sputtering. Just handle it. Hanson, I need to speak with you.
Yes, sir.
Another sweetheart of a deal is to take some of our expenses and shift them over to a dummy corporation. That'll make our profits look a lot higher than they are.
But sir, both of those schemes are highly illegal. If we were found out, we could be nailed pretty hard.
Well, Hanson, you're the head of my legal department, and only if you do a lousy job of setting up the legal paperwork. I want you to wrap it up so tight in that legal mumbo-jumbo that no one will ever discover it.
Sir, I think it's extremely dangerous and unwise to proceed down this path.
Oh, you do you? You're the head of my legal department, and Parker, you're my chief financial officer. Do I need to remind you both that a large portion of your bonuses and your compensation are paid in stock options? If the price of the stock goes up, we'll all be wealthy men. But if it goes through the floor, they'll be worthless.
But we will still be highly paid executives living outside of jail.
I don't intend to stand for that. I want you two to find out how to get these things done. These changes are going to be made either with you or without you. Now just handle it. Gates, Ms. Bill Gates Jr., oh, revered head of my Computer Information Services Department, I need some computer information services from you.
What information is that, sir?
Well, I was thinking, can you take some money off the top of the pension fund and not make a big deal out of it?
Certainly, sir. I can easily do that, including a chunk from your pension fund. But do you really want to anger the employees and the retirees?
No, wait a minute. Not my fund. Can you really do that?
Faster than you can say Ebenezer Scrooge.
Now, what I was thinking was a few years back, there was a certain CEO of a local tire company, and he realized that the money set aside to pay their pension benefits had accumulated more money than was promised through some wise investments that they made. And so he took $300 million off the top of that fund, and he used it to buy back their stock. It did wonders for their stock price.
I hesitate to point this out to you, sir, but are you aware that that company no longer exists?
Yes, I'm aware, but it made him and his top executives very wealthy men. Now, Gates, I want you to get this done.
Are you sure you really want to do this? It doesn't sound like it's...
Of course I'm sure. I wouldn't have brought it up if I wasn't sure. Now, just handle it. And you keep your grubby computer claws out of my pension fund. Mrs. Cook,
Yes, sir.
I need to have the minutes of this meeting on my desk by tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning? But, sir, tomorrow is Christmas.
It is? I suppose that means you want the day off? Well, I guess we'll just have to work late tonight. By the way, Mrs. Cook, since it is Christmas, I need you to buy some gifts for my children.
Tomorrow. For Christmas tomorrow. And don't your children, live in California? I'm supposed to get them there, buy them today, and get them there tomorrow.
Well, of course. Haven't you ever heard of UPS or Federal Express? They can get them there overnight.
But, sir, I wouldn't have an idea of what to buy them. I don't know what sizes they wear, what they like.
Well, how would I know? They're teenagers. I haven't even seen them since the divorce. Just buy them something and put on the card, "All my love, Dad."
The only problem is I really was planning on getting off a little bit early this evening because, well, my children are in a Christmas Eve play.
And I'm working the stage for that play.
A Christmas Eve play? Well, what's that about?
It tells the real story of Christmas, the story of Jesus' birth. In the Bible, the birth of the Christ child.
Oh, yes, I remember. My wife used to take our kids to church and read the Bible, but I never had any time for that stuff. She just handled it. Refresh my memory. Tell me, how does that story go?
Well, I would certainly love to explain to you the whole story, but seeing as how you would like for me to get Christmas gifts for your children and get them to California by tomorrow, I probably really don't have time. But, well, if you want to learn more, why don't you come to our play this evening? You know where our church is.
That's a good idea. You other two, you don't have any play to go to tonight, do you?
Well, actually, we thought we would...
Oh, that's great, that's great. We can all work up until it's time to go. Parker, I want you to buy some tickets, and we'll continue working through the intermissions.
But, sir, there is no intermission, and there are no tickets to buy. It's free.
Free? I wonder how long they'll stay in business.
Well, considering the church has been in existence for almost 2,000 years, I think it's a safe bet that they'll be in existence a lot longer than this company.
Yeah, especially if we pull off these illegal schemes that he's determined to do. Why, he just tells us to handle it, and he assumes it'll be done. No sweat. What's a CEO to do when the share price starts to slide? Will his options all expire? Will his bonus go in high? He must find someone to blame for this monetary wreck. So call in the CFO and dump the problem on his neck. So handle it, just handle it. That's all you need to say. Just tell someone to handle it, and your problem fades away. No need for please or thank you. That's not the executive way. Just merely say you handle it, and your problems melt away.
When the balance sheet shows red, only one thing can be done. Just convert the red to black for some spreadsheet added fun. Simply move offending numbers to a more propitious spot. The picture will look rosy, even though you know it's not.
So handle it, just handle it. That's all you need to say. Just tell someone to handle it, and your problem fades away. No need for please or thank you. That's not the executive way. Just merely say you handle it, and your problems melt away.
march you off to jail. Don't forget your CEO, who has caused you great travail. And remember his last words that keep ringing in your ears. We will all be rich as sin if our debits disappear. So handle it, just handle it. That's all you need to say. Just tell someone to handle it, and your problem fades away. No need for please or thank you. That's not the executive way. Just merely say you handle it, and your problems melt away.
When the boss barks orders out, he wants us to jump and run. No matter how outrageous, he thinks it's already done. No task is too demanding to cause an underling pain. We know that we must handle all thoughts from a single brain.
So handle it, just handle it. That's all you need to say. Just tell someone to handle it, and your problem fades away. No need for please or thank you. That's not the executive way. Just merely say you handle it, and your problem melt away. Hey, just handle it. Hey, just handle it. Just handle it. Just handle it. Just handle.
Hanson,
Yes, sir.
this door I'm about to go through is shut, but I need it open, and I want you to handle it.
Right away, sir. Immediately. There you are, sir.
Thank you, my good man. I would say you handled that very well.
I'm so glad you found the church.
Oh, yes. I told Parker to handle our transportation, and he got us here. By the way, Mrs. Cook, did you take care of getting those presents for my children?
Yes, I handled it. I certainly hope they like what I picked out.
Well, why wouldn't they? After all, the gifts did come from their father.
Well, on that note, why don't you take off your coats? Have a seat right here. I saved the first pew for you. The play is about to begin.
Mary!
Joseph, you startled me.
I'm sorry, Mary. I was anxious to see you. I have so many questions.
I was afraid that when you heard the news, you wouldn't believe what really happened to me.
I believe, Mary. I want to hear exactly what was said firsthand.
Well, I was sitting here in my room when a bright light flooded it, and a voice spoke. I was scared to death. At first, I couldn't see who was speaking, but as he spoke, I saw him, a man robed in white.
That's the way he appeared to me, too. I was working in my workshop. He scared the life out of me.
So he appeared to you too?
Yes, but what did he say?
First, he told me not to be afraid, that he was the angel Gabriel sent by God.
Right. This guy pops out of nowhere and says, "Do not be afraid." Like we see angels every day.
Then he said that God was pleased with me, and he is going to bless me with a son, and I am to name him Jesus.
A young woman having a child in our society isn't necessarily considered a blessing.
That's what I was thinking. I asked him how this is possible, since I'm not yet married. He said God would see to it. He also told me that my son was going to be great. He's going to be called the Son of the Most High, the Son of God, and there will be no end to his kingdom.
Wow. What a load to lay on a young girl. What did you say to that?
Well, after I found my voice and accepted that he really was the angel Gabriel, I simply said that I am the handmaid of the Lord, and I will do whatever he requires of me.
My sweet Mary, no wonder God chose you.
I asked him why God chose me out of all the women of Israel. He said that God was pleased with me. Then he said something very strange. He told me that my cousin Elizabeth became pregnant about 6 months ago and going to have a son who is to be named John. And John is to become a great prophet who will tell all people that the Savior, my son Jesus, is coming. As soon as I could, I went to Elizabeth and I found out that it's all true.
This is heavy. Your son, Jesus, is going to be the long-awaited Messiah, and his cousin John will announce his coming?
Yes, but before he left, I told him I was worried about you, and he assured me he'd call upon you too. So he did as he promised?
Yes, but before he appeared, I decided that I was going to set aside our engagement, quietly, rather than publicly as our custom dictates. I didn't want to humiliate you.
Dear Joseph, always thinking of others.
My head was spinning. He told me to go ahead and marry you anyway, and that we were to name our son Jesus.
Jesus. My son's name is going to be Jesus. What a beautiful name.
When he said this, I said, I don't have any relatives by that name, but Jesus it will be.
Did he tell you why God chose us to be the parents of him rather than some wealthy kings or a wealthy couple who could afford to give him everything he needs?
Yes, he said that since we are both of the lineage of King David, that the prophecy of the scriptures would be fulfilled. He also said that wealth has nothing to do with it. God is pleased with us, Mary. He will not let us fail. I just hope I can live up to his standards.
Joseph, you will do fine. God would not put his son in our care and then abandon us. He will always be with us.
Business is good. All the rooms are full, and it looks like it'll be that way for quite some time until this registration time is over.
Papa, why are all these people suddenly coming to Bethlehem? And why are they registered?
Well, Rachel, Caesar Augustus, the Emperor of Rome, has issued a decree that everyone in his kingdom must be taxed. And to make sure that he gets every denarius, he has ordered that every man return to the city of his ancestor's birth to be registered and taxed.
But why do they have to travel for this? Why can't they be taxed for their living now?
That's a very good question, Samuel, and one that I don't have the answer to. In fact, I doubt that anyone else does either, including Caesar Augustus himself. There's probably